welcome back. We're going to take a short tutorial today on working with InDesign and bringing in both audio files and video files. I have a page in my magazine here and I want to put a link in here so someone can click on this link and listen to our podcast. So what I've done is I've added some graphics here about our podcast, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out. I'm going to make sure I don't have anything selected. I'm going to go under Edit, make sure Deselect All is not active. And I'm going to do my File menu, and I'm going to go to Place. And I'm just going to go out here to my folder where I have my MP3 file. I'm going to double click on that, and that gives me a cursor that looks like a speaker. I'm just going to drag this out, drag out the audio file frame across here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my Window menu, and I'm going to go down to Interactive, and I'm going to come over to Media. Because this is an audio file, InDesign shows the speaker icon here. I can click this icon here to listen to it. I have some options. I can have it play on the page load, or whenever someone visits this page, it would automatically start playing. I don't want that. That's kind of rude. So what I'm going to do is I am going to turn on Stop on Page Turn. Now you say, well, how are they going to play this? Well, it's going to put a controller in the area where we drew out the audio placed graphic. I'm not going to loop it. I'm going to come over here. I'm not going to do any poster frame because I already have this graphic here. It says along those lines. So I think we're good there. Now I'm going to check this by going over here to remind you in the lower left it says Preview Spread Epub. So when I click on that, it's going to load up the Epub Interactive Preview. I'm going to make this bigger. Just as a reminder, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on Clear Preview. This will give me a fresh preview of this, and we'll see if it works. So it loads the page up. And again, we didn't have checked Play on Page Load, but it gave us the controller here. So we have a play. We have some time frame information here. We have maybe a scrubber to go to a different place within the podcast. We have a speaker icon here. If I click on it, I can mute. And also there's a volume control here. So let's see if it works.
Hi everyone, welcome to
So I can bring the volume down and up.
podcast about electric cooperative.
I can pause it. I can also play, and I can go above this scrub bar. So if I know there's a segment that starts like at 9 minutes, I can drag to that point and actually go ahead and play from that point. What you might do if you're going to include something like this, because you do have this little scrub bar, you may include a little list down here that if you have 3 major topics within this podcast, tell the starting time approximately for that topic, maybe about 5 seconds before it. So denote a time, subtract about 5 seconds, and then tell them what that topic is. So they can use this little scrubber here to go to that place, start the playback, and go from there. So audio is really easy. I'm going to minimize my interactive Epub Preview here. I'm going to put it over in the corner, and we'll come back to that when we do video next. So on the previous page, I have a location here where I've drawn out a frame, and this is going to be a placeholder for a video clip that I want to put into this document. So I'm going to go over here to File, Place, and I'm going to find my file. Now I look over here, and I have 2 copies of it. One is called an MP4 file, and one's a .mov file. Now, the reason I have both of them here is because the original file I received was a .mov file. And I thought, well, I better convert that to an MP4 file because an MP4 file is more universally available to playback, where movie files or .mov files are specifically probably from Apple, so an MP4 file is more of a generic version of that. So what do you do if you get a .mov file or some other file that isn't an MP4? How do you convert it into an MP4? Well, I'm glad you asked that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to show you how this process is done. You can download from the Creative Cloud, if you don't already have it on your machine, a little application called Adobe Media Encoder. And what you can do here is, let me delete this example. When this comes up in this area right here, I can double click and I can go out and get my MOV file. So I'm going to pick the MOV file and I'm going to open it or bring it into Media Encoder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the name of it. Not this blue, but this name. Then I'm going to come to the lower left, and over here are a bunch of what are called presets for encoding this file into a different format. So if you twiddle open the system presets, we're going to come down here to it says web video, and then I have social media. So when I'm going to come over here, I'm looking for something like YouTube 720 HD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this preset on top of the name of this MOV file, and it's going to encode it into YouTube 720p HD quality. This other one, I'm going to click kind of in the middle here, and I'm just going to delete it. That was a choice made by Media Encoder, but I want to overrule that. I want it to encode the way I have specified. Over here where it's blue, you can click and you can tell it where to save this movie to. I'm going to save this encoded video back to my InDesign animation folder. I'm going to put a X in front of it just because I have another copy there already, and I'm going to click Save. Now that just determines the location. To encode it, you have to come up to the upper right here and click on this green arrow. And what this is going to do, it's going to go through the process of converting this from a .mov file to a .mp4 file with these YouTube specifications. So depending on how fast your computer is or how long your clip is, it won't probably take very long. So now this is done. So I'm going to quit out of Media Encoder, and I'm going to come back to InDesign here. I'm going to click on my frame here where I want to put the video. I'm going to go File, Place, and I'm going to find my file right here, X. And this is the file I want. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to put it right here. Now I have a little symbol here. It's really hard for you to see. It looks like a film strip or a movie film. But over here in the media panel, it shows me where I can see this clip. I'm going to play this clip back, a little bit of it at least.
I'm here on Capitol Hill.
In fact, let me back this up a little bit. There we go.
I'm here on Capitol Hill during our legislative conference, where we have over 2,000 members from elected.
Now notice this video actually has the presenter's name right here and title. Now I think I'm going to use that to my advantage. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me move it back to the beginning here, or someplace else. Let's look down here. Do I want this to play as soon as the person hits this page? No, again, I think that's kind of rude, so I'm not going to turn that on. I'm not going to loop it. But I'm going to come down here on something called Poster. And I'm going to say InDesign, the frame of video where his name is showing up. Let's see here.
I'm here on Capitol Hill during our legislative conference, where we have over 2,000.
That frame of video where I paused it, I'm going to use as what is called the poster frame for this. And what I mean by that is when I come down here and I say from current frame, this is the picture they're going to see in this electronic document. Now the video is not going to start from here, but this is the representative frame, poster frame that represents this document. Now you could drag to a different position and click the update arrow and it would pick another frame. Remember, these other choices are none, standard, which would give you a video icon. From the current frame you picked up here from the video, you can also choose an image. So if you have a standardized front end graphic you want to have on the front end of every one of your videos, you could do that. But I'm going to use from current frame. So now let's see what happens. Well, where's the controller? I think what's going to happen is the same way as the audio file didn't show you a controller at the beginning, but when it plays back, it's going to show us a controller. So let's see if we go to the lower left corner of my media panel, and I'm going to do an Epub Preview. I'm going to move this Epub Preview over. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to refresh by clicking the Clear Preview. And then I'm going to click Play. Remember, it's not going to play on page load because we turned that off. So here's the representative frame. I can click Play here.
I'm here on Capitol Hill during our legislative conference, where we have over 2,000 members.
Now let me mute the audio for a second. You can see as soon as I roll off, the controller goes away. As I move my mouse arrow over it, it comes back. You also have the capability of dragging along this timeline here, this scrubber, and going to a specific place in the video and playing from that point on.
Grants from FEMA or broadband. I'm here on Capitol Hill during our legislative conference.
So this is a method for you to put audio or video into your electronic InDesign document when you publish it online. Now, one word of caution. This video clip is only 1 minute and 23 seconds. I'm not going to put a 8 or 9 or 10 minute or greater video in this document. I'm putting in little snippet documents like under 2 minutes for maybe a video file, maybe under 3 or 4 minutes for a audio podcast or something like that. It's not to overload the document, it's just to add a little bit of variety and interest to a document. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can drop me an email, mark@easelssolutions. And thanks for watching.